Everyone is poised for the weekend, but let's get business morning into your weekend portfolio. So how are we getting today's started? I am Osun live to you from Channel's global headquarters in Lagos. Let's talk about the land border closure. Nigerian Shippers Council today at about 11 hosting the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the Manufacturers Association, commercial banks, importers and exporters, the customs and immigration top officials, all of them in one room in Lagos. The whole idea is to find out where we are, stakeholders' conversation around the land border closure, which of course will extend until the end of January next year, according to information over the last few days. How long that will extend into the new year, no one really knows. But today, the Shippers Council is putting the stakeholders forum together for them to discuss where things are, the state of things, the land border closures. Everyone will be talking about what has been the cost benefits and the what some people are referring to as what you call the pains and the gains of the land border closures. Meantime, yesterday the Nigerian Customs issued an internal memo which bars discharge of petrol products at any retail outlets located within 20 kilometers of every land borders, regardless, according to the customs, the size of the retail storage tanks. The security reports had fingered border petrol stations as the conduit, the main conduit for siphoning or smuggling of Nigeria's imported petrol products across the region, resulting in scarcity locally, higher petrol prices at the pumps, and high import inventory by Nigeria. Meantime, the country's Code of Conduct Bureau, the CCB, says the agency has investigated 200 asset declaration papers with a total value of 40 billion naira. The CCB says it has also filed 75 cases at the Code of Conduct Tribunal, and about 100 cases are pending before the tribunal. The CCB says it's investigating those papers filed by public officials, 200 of them for possible misconduct. Meantime, President Buhari's finance bill for 2019 has passed the second reading at the National Assembly. The bill was presented by Mr. President alongside Budget 2020 papers to the National Assembly on the 8th of October. The finance bill focuses on key areas of fiscal equity, tax laws reforms, incentives for paying tax, incentives for investment in infrastructure, investing in the capital market, as well as support for the small and medium enterprises, as well as raising the government's revenue. It's a very big finance bill, which President Buhari hopes will help stimulate the fiscal economy moving forward, starting year 2020. Yesterday, the Vice President, Professor Yemi Oshibajo, delegated the head of the SEC, Mary Uduk, to represent him at the FMDQ Annual Capital Market Conference, and says that Nigeria needs combination of domestic savings and foreign capital for national development. Professor Oshibajo says the federal government has major objective of building globally competitive economy, but that will require fresh and adequate capital. So where will the money come from? He says in the paper that the approach of economic diversification will require sources of capital which will have to be mixed in making our country a destination of capital and further deepening the capital market, and of course help the government achieve its objectives. A very busy Thursday it was on downtown Lagos while the FMDQ conference was going on. It's a two-day event, and today is a final day. The governor of the state of Osun, Adeboyega Oyetola, was at the Nigerian Stock Exchange, the second state governor to visit the NSE since 2019 started. And he told traders on the floor of the exchange and the stock market community about how to invest in Osun State, but what is the state bringing to the table? Let's take a listen to His Excellency Adeboyega Oyetola, the Osun State Governor.
I would like to begin these remarks by expressing the gratitude of the government and the people of the state of Osun, to the Director General, the entire leadership, and the staff of the Nigerian Stock Exchange for the privilege extended to me as governor to visit the exchange, to give the profile of the economy of the state, and to bring the bell to signal the commencement of the economic and investment summits of the state. The ringing of the bell at the stock exchange today is a prime strategy to give life and publicity to the economic and investment summit. I had promised in my inaugural address to deliver this summit within 1 year of our administration. The intention being to use it as the anchor of the development agenda. I had equally promised the people of the state in my inaugural speech as the governor of the state. In line with our promise to sustainably reposition the economy of the state and deliver prosperity to the people, we designed the Osun economic agenda to present the government's economic roadmap and showcase investment opportunities within the state to Nigerians and international investors, as well as present Osun as a strategic location for industrialization. The three-day summit, which is scheduled for November 19 to 21 this year, will hold at Aura Event Center, Osogbo. It is a multi-stage, multi-stakeholder summit that will dissect and recommend strategies which will drive meaningful youth employment, enhance food security, agricultural development, activate mining prospects, and boost tourism potentials of the state, and more importantly, showcase Osun as a strategic location for industrialization. The summit, which will comprise mainly plenary sessions, will focus on key potential growth sectors, which include agriculture, mining, ICT and innovation, culture and tourism, and creative economy, youth and jobs, light manufacturing, infrastructure development, industry and commerce, environment, in the area of waste to wealth, health, and technical and vocational education. World-class and top-notch speakers, development partners, investors, panelists, and moderators will attend this summit. Over 1,000 participants across the world are expected at the summit. The summit will afford us the opportunity to receive the knowledge of practice from top-notch speakers and implant on Osun local content. Over 20 world-class resource persons, top-notch speakers, and renowned investors, panelists, and moderators have confirmed their attendance. They include the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, the Governor of CBN, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, the Minister of Trade, Chief Niyi Adebayo, the Minister of Sales and Mines, Mr. Olanilekan Adegbite, Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Mr. Sambo Nano, Chairman, Public Policy Group, ISGPP, Emeritus Professor Ademola Oyejide, MD, Consulting and Senior Advisors to the Government of Madagascar on Investment and Economic Development Strategy, Mrs. Manisa Dokino, Wale Babalaki, Chairman, by Kotner Group of Companies, Principal Economist, International Finance Corporation, Voca Tracy, Chairman, Nigeria Economic Summit Council, Mr. Asue Igudalo, MD, CEO, Transmission Company of Nigeria, Mr. UG Mohammed. This summit is not a talk show. It is born out of a genuine intention to make the state of Osun the commercial hub of the Southwest. There will be government to business, business to government discussions, and a good focus on businesses and entrepreneurs in Osogbo and other parts of the nation, as well as exhibition opportunities for businesses in Osogbo and the state. Memorandum of understanding will be signed on the sidelines. Investment guides have already been produced. We have the political will, which is anchored on commitment to the cause and provision of leadership. We have assembled the best of talents in the states as commissioners and special advisors. They have been tutored on the strategies for delivering the development agenda of our administration, while they have always been handed performance charters to guide them in the service delivery in their respective ministries. In the 11 months of assuming office, we've delivered quality and equitable services and projects in the 9 federal constituencies in our state. The outcome of this summit will serve as bricks on the foundation of the services and projects we have delivered in the last 11 months. The state of Osun has all it takes to be an investment and economic hub in Nigeria. It possesses abundant resources, including agriculture, huge mineral resources, relatively stable electricity, an average of 18 hours of electricity per day. It is the reigning most peaceful state in Nigeria. It has a large expanse of arable soil and energetic and enterprising people who are waiting to transfer our initiative into reality. Our landmark achievements in the last 11 months speak for us and attest to our ability to deliver and be trusted. The state of Osun came second in the Nigerian World Bank Save 1 Million Lives program for result, SOMIN initiative, which earned us a $20.547 million from the award, which is now being used to embark on the revitalization of 9 general hospitals and 332 health centers across the state. We are the 2018 most peaceful state in Nigeria. I must say that the health care delivery of our state has been improved considerably. We now have a situation where for every ward there is a primary health center, which gives the opportunity for the most vulnerable to have access to health care. As you will receive the sound of the bell from the floor of this esteemed exchange, a new entrant is being prepared for admittance into the business world.
Governor Adeboyega Oyetola of the state of Osun. So, sales taken with downtown Lagos, where the FMDQ Securities Exchange held its second national capital market conference, of course, where the head of the SEC, Mary Uduk, represented the vice president. The panel, the first panel of the day, held serious discussions about how economy and the markets mix together and what to expect moving forward, using the instruments of the market to leverage what the governments want to achieve in terms of infrastructure investment, among other things, making Nigeria the destination for capital. Let's take a listen to some of the panel members that include officials of the central bank and of the SEC.
When you look at Ghana and Rwanda you talked about, you see there is always this international believe that once you are on an IMF program, all is well. But we know that even though Ghana is said to be attracting FDIs, the IMF is still giving them a bailout to pay salaries. And I don't think that, because that is one of the, I remember that issue came up also when we were at the IMF, and the governor asked them, he used a particular term, which I would do. He said, look, you guys keep praising somebody, you are breastfeeding, but somebody who is doing well without your milk, why don't you acknowledge that he's doing fine? Why do you want everybody to come under your program before you think you can project them to the international community? Be that as it may, you spoke about multiple windows or multiple exchange rate. Yes, we've met with investors severally, both locally and internationally, those issues have come up. And mind you, for you as an investor, when you are coming in, that is not really your issue because you are coming into the window, which is investment, import and export, importers and exporters window, the I and in window. And that market is driven completely by market forces. The central bank only comes in to intervene at a particular time in that market to ensure stability. I will give you a typical example. When that window was opened initially, there was massive inflow into that window. And based on the study we have within the bank, we know that the purchasing parity rate for the exchange rate was at a particular point in time, at a particular rate. And if we allowed the continuous inflow of investment without central bank intervening at that window, maybe exchange rate would have fallen to as low as maybe 200 naira to the dollar. But that will not be sustainable because that is not the optimum exchange rate at that particular point in time. That was why the central bank had to intervene at that particular point in time to buy up some of those excess liquidity, excess foreign exchange inflow into its reserve. And when the reverse became the case sometime last year, when there was a hitch in the global market, we reversed our role and sold into that market. So that market is completely open. And for the multiple windows which you talked about, I spoke with a couple of people. And just like I also was discussing with our friend there, you see, when you talk about access to finance, we are talking who are supposed to be the engine of growth, the small and medium enterprises. These are people who will need foreign exchange some of the time to import the capital goods they need to produce. And these are some of the people whom the banks will never look their side. They will ignore. It is the responsibility of the central bank to ensure that these people whom we think are also part of the national economy that will engender growth gets access to this particular window. And I'll tell you one thing. The difference, and let me explain it, at the SME, as I and in window, is about 359, 360. It fluctuates up to 350, 362, 363. Then you go to the BDC market, it's about 360. And then you come to the retail auction, which the spot is about 348, 349. But for those, the fund from those banks are tied down because most of those who get those rates at those lower rates are forwards, which last up to about 6 months. By the time you build in the interest rate element, you begin to see that effectively they are all paying about the same thing. That is why we say that rate is almost converging. So it is for this reason that we think that central bank has a responsibility to ensure that the available resources for those who want to utilize it, at least irrespective of the segment in which you operate, you should be able to get those. Otherwise, if everybody has to go, yes, maybe it will be 360. But issue of will the banks have time for a small holder like me if I want to go and out? Rather, they'll give it to the big corporates. They can have it. But that is why you see that when we say it is multiple windows, but the exchange rate is almost convergent.
PENCOM now has adopted this strategy where there is constant engagement with identified strategic stakeholders in trying to ensure whatever instruments or securities are allowable. If the operators by nature who are a bit conservative, if they are not comfortable, we use various methods, capacity building, trainings, exposure, and also engaging the issuers right from the initial stages. And I'm happy to say, for example, with private equity, we saw some movement with that when we adopted that strategy. Same is happening for infrastructure. Initial reaction, because these investments have to do with trust And also it has a lot to do with being able to do some detailed due diligence. So there are myriad of factors required to ensure the required skill in terms of investment.
Some of the panelists speaking at the two-day FMDQ annual Cap 2 Markets Conference. We'll take a break. We'll be right back into